We are live. Good evening, good late evening, or early evening, whichever one it is for you. I hope you're all well today. Please, if you can see me and you can hear me, can you drop me some love emojis or a comment? Just let me know you're here with me, okay? Is anybody here with me yet? Um, I'll be looking out for all those messages. Oh, awesome. Abidemi Christiana is here with me. Thank you so much for joining us today. Once again, my name is Vera Patrick Azodo, and I'm the founder of the Readers Corner and Book Lovers Club. I'm just reintroducing myself just in case somebody is walking in to the YouTube channel that hasn't been here before. But before you go too far, please don't forget to click the subscribe button so that you can stay updated on all our amazing conversations happening here on YouTube once every month, the last Sunday of every month. And we also post videos on a weekly basis. What is it that we talk about anyway? If you don't know already, the Readers Corner is a reading hub and a bookstore where we emphasize on the need for living right by reading, right? Where we emphasize on the need for us all to become consistent readers, to establish some level of consistency in our reading habit. And by now, if you've been following us, you would see that we've always focused on the reasons why this is a non-negotiable, right? Recently I was just wrapping up a new book that I've been working on for so many months now. Like, I can't wait for that book to just be launched in May, right? And I got to a part where I had to start introducing the benefits of reading as a lifestyle. And oh my God, that took on a whole lot of pages of the chapter. I wanted to tweak it down. I wanted to, be more conservative, but something in me says no. The readers of this book have to understand what they stand to lose if they don't soak in the fact that reading is your lifestyle. And then I got to a part of that book where I began the chapter and I said, if you can eat, then you can read. That was the quote that my coach and mentor, Coach Wendy Oluge, used to always say to us in the inner circle. At first, I fought with that quote because how can you relate eating and reading? I mean, what's a relationship? We all have not been reading for years and nothing happened. We're doing well, right? But try not to eat and let's see whether you're going to survive it. But many years down the line, like me telling you this story is just I'm reliving the experience I felt when I was writing that part of the book, because I actually told the story in that book. Like, so many years after, this is me saying the same thing emphatically, that if you can eat, then you can read. If you want to know more about why you must read as long as you eat, then wait for the launch of my upcoming book. The pre-orders will be announced soon and it will be launched in May. That book is loaded. It is so dear to my heart, and I've poured out my heart into that book because I am on a mission to raise lifelong readers. Are you going to be one of us? Welcome to today's live stream. Before I get ahead of myself, let's come back to today's topic. So today we're looking at reading as a child versus reading as an adult. What changed? This is a very important topic because over the years, while working with parents and adults, I see a pattern repeat itself, right? But before I go on, let me ask you a question. Can you please let me know that you can hear me clearly, you can see me clearly before I get into this topic? I need one more confirmation, please, that you can see me and you can hear me. Can anyone see me? Can you hear me? Please put it in the chat session. I have a feeling that something is not right, but I just need a confirmation again before I trottle along. Okay, yes, you're audible and I can see you. Amazing. Thank you so much, Christiana, for that confirmation. Now I have the permission to move ahead. In 1 second, please. One question. Why was reading so easy when you were younger, but now as an adult, it feels like a struggle? For many of us, we pick up a book and within minutes, we get distracted, or you even start reading, but you don't finish it. And then you tell yourself, I really want to read more, but it doesn't just happen. Or maybe let me just close it tonight. I'm so tired. Tomorrow I continue. And guess what? Over time, you start to wonder, what happened to me? Where did I lose it? And am I just not disciplined anymore? Like, is this laziness in another form? Now, let me say this clearly: the problem is not you. Something changed in your journey to adulthood. And today, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about and how to fix it. Now let's take so many steps back, thousands of steps backwards to when we were children. Now think about when you were younger. Reading wasn't something you struggled with. In fact, it was normal. It was like your normal activity. Every day you knew what you were supposed to do. Come back from school, you do your homework, and all of those things. Why? Because your life was designed for it. You had structure, you had time set aside for reading. You even had teachers guiding you. You had books chosen for your level. So there was no ambiguity, there was no confusion. And guess what? You didn't have to decide when to read. You didn't have to fight distractions. You didn't have to motivate yourself. Why? Because reading was built into your life naturally. And the best part of it is that the entire fiber of your being understood that that is what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? The entire fiber of your being aligned to the expectation that, okay, at this time I have to read. There's no negotiation about it, there's no conversation, right? All of those were just because you were a child at that time. Now, let's move thousands of steps forward into your adult life. As an adult, you have responsibilities. Your time is stretched. Your mind is constantly, occupied. Even when you're not working, you're supposed to be resting, but your mind hardly rests because adulthood is a lot of work. They say adulthood na scam. I don't know about that, but I know it is very demanding. Your mind is constantly occupied and you're surrounded by loads of distractions. And the result, reading is no longer priority. It's competing with everything else. And the truth is, by the time you finally have time to read, you're tired, your focus is low, your energy is completely gone. So, what happens? You keep trying, the cycle keeps going around. I had a client one time and she said, Vera, all this reading, you're always shouting like this. My own is that you have been able to convince me to develop a reading habit. But the problem is once I touch the book, I sleep off. So the book has become her own lullaby, sleeping medication. I want you to know that that is normal, right? Now, all of those things you're experiencing, they are not the problem. The real problem that we have in this situation is that most people begin to blame themselves. They begin to say, okay, I'm not disciplined anymore. I don't just have time. I just can't focus anymore. And all of those kind of things we say to ourselves. But the truth is, you're not a problem. Adulthood is not the problem. The problem is that your life changed, but your reading approach did not change. So you're trying to read like a child, right? In an adult life that is completely different. Don't forget, we said as a child, you had a structure, you had a routine, you had a curriculum, you had was AOC, area of concentration. So everything was tabled out for you. You didn't even have to decide what to read, right? And this also includes even pleasure reading, like your novels and storybooks. Many times we just all pick up books because our friends were reading them. But in adulthood, you find that they are all alone in this reading conversation. You enter a room full of adults, the only thing you see is iPhone 17, iPhone 15, pressing it. Beep, 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 beep. You can count with the top of your fingers how many adults carry books wherever they are, right? That's not the problem, right? So there has to be a shift at some point, right? This, like, at this point is where the shift really needs to happen. The shift is this: you have to learn how to read as an adult. Adulthood comes with its own package for reading. So if you keep trying to read the way you read as a child, then it can never be successful. It keeps going through the round cycle of start, stop, regret, start, stop, blame yourself, start, stop, sulk, start, stop, and eventually stop completely. Why? Because the root cause hasn't been addressed, right? And this is something I've been working on deeply, even in my own life, and also in the book that I'm currently writing. I talked about, there's a part that talks about the silent struggles of an adult reader, right? Because before you become a consistent reader as an adult, you have to become a ready reader. I'm going to unpack this as we go along. Just stay with me. Now, what does it mean to be a ready reader? You stop relying on motivation, right? You design a reading life that fits your own unique life, not every other person's life. Even something as simple as reading for 10 minutes a day instead of waiting for free time can make a significant shift, because consistency is what rebuilds your reading life. It's not convenience, it's not motivation. And this is exactly the work that we're doing. See, understanding why reading feels hard, helping people rebuild their reading life, creating a system that actually works in real life. Those are the core elements of Book Lovers Club, and that's what we focus on. We don't focus on reading more books. I'm sure club members on joining here and catching the replay, they would already hear this over and over again. We don't focus on the number of books. In fact, if you come to me and tell me you read 15 books last year, I don't care. Like, honestly, I really don't care about that. What I want to hear is, I read 15 books and this is how I lived the books. I didn't just read them, I lived them, in the sense that I translated all that I learned from those books into my daily life. So on Monday, this is how the books I read shaped my activities. On Tuesday, this is how it shaped my decisions. On Wednesday, this is how the third book shaped my conversations. That's what I want to hear. Because it's better to read one book that speaks to your life and changes things around there than to read 15 that you don't remember one concept 3 months down the line. Before I wrap before I get, like, wrap up this session and then enter the next session, is, when was the last time you finished a book? And what do you struggle with the most? That's a food for thought. Is it time? Is it focus? Or is it consistency? When was the last time you finished a book? I'm going to wait for a second and let that, sink in. And then I move on to the next segment, right? One major issue, or how do I say, one major struggle that adults have is, we were not trained to read for life. That's number one. Adults were not trained taught to read for life. So I always like to use myself as a personal example. Just like many other people, reading was never introduced to me as a tool for growth. No, it was mostly about academics. Just go and read your book, pass the exam, top your class, and get a good job. That's the narrative they fed us, which is totally wrong. And guess what I did? I read to pass the exams. I got the good grades. But guess what? As a child, I can't even remember owning a book, any other book aside from English and maths and science book. What's the name of that science book? I can't remember. A very big one, the one with chemistry. Oh, it's been so many years, over 20 years right now. So I'm not sure I can remember it. But those were the books I had. And, growing up now, and I try to reflect, like, what really happened with my growing up. Right now, I see my kids, they have books littered every part of the house. And I ask myself, why was our growing up so different? I can't remember one book, owning a book like it that it is in my name. The only ones I had were English, maths, chemistry, biology. mm, And that's where the foundation was gotten wrong. Same applies to many of us, not every one of us. I've met a lot of, parents who said, oh, they actually loved to read. Their parents got them a lot of books, novels, and all of that. But those are the minority of the population. A whole lot of us were raised the same way that I'm talking about. Just read your book, do your assignment, pass the test, get a good job. And so reading was tied to pressure, like deadlines, tests, assignments. There was always something at stake. And because of that, reading was never something that most people choose, right? It was just something that we complied with. Let's just get it done and move ahead. That's my number one point. Adulthood life was not taught. Adults were not taught to read for life. The second point is our curiosity was killed as children. How many of us remember the popular saying that curiosity kills the cat? Curiosity kills the cat. You know, as I work on all of these resources talking about reading, I just feel like I should go back to my childhood life and correct so many errors. Because how can you tell somebody that curiosity kills the cat? That's a lie from the pits of hell. Curiosity is actually indeed what saves the cat. In my local dialect, there's something they say, I will say it in English, said, the person who asks a lot of questions never misses the road. And then on the other hand, you're telling me curiosity kills the cat. Which one is the right one? How, in reality, who has ever died because they asked question? I don't think I've heard of it. It has never happened that somebody lost their life or got injured because they said, please, what is this? Or because they asked question. And these are some of the very terrible adages that we were told growing up. I myself personally, I heard a lot of it because you guys know I can talk, right? I love to talk. I love to teach, right? It didn't start now. I've always been a talker, even from childhood. So, and I was always curious. I would ask questions. My parents would just be like, you self, relax. You two they ask, you two they do. All of those comments were suppressing the talent in me and every other adult that experienced the same thing, right? Curiosity does not kill the cat. And the thing is, as children are naturally curious, even you and I, when we were children, we asked a lot of questions. That's when our neural pathways were connecting to our environment, beginning to adjust and understand ourselves better, right? And these are some of the things that we were told. Oh, don't ask too many questions. Just stick to the syllables. Obey the last command, right? If you don't take away anything else from today's live stream, please, curiosity does not kill the cat. Curiosity saves the cat. Can somebody help us type that in the comment section? Curiosity does not kill the cat anything. Instead, curiosity saves the cat. And if you're a parent joining this live stream or watching a replay, I want you to take it as a take home. Never ever say that to any child around you, so that you don't shut down the innovative, creative, and curious part of their brains. Allow them to ask questions. It's okay for them to ask questions, even if you're not available to answer, you're not ready to answer, but never shut them down. Allow them to express themselves the way they want to. And then you can find a convenient time to explain things to them. That's what I do with my daughter. When she asks a question and I'm not ready for long talk, I'll just tell her, you know what, note down this point. We'll come back to it again. And it really works every time. Right? And because of all of this shutting down our curiosity, learning became passive. We were trained to just receive information, garbage in, garbage out, la cram, la pour, I write, I pass. That's the end of story. I always ask all of the mosquito we were, female Anopheles mosquitoes we were drawing in secondary school. How did they even, What did we use them for? How does that impact our adulthood life? So why I'm saying all these things is to establish the fact that our environment did not favor adults. The learning environment does not favor adults. That is the reason why, as an adult, you have to take the laws into your hands and save your curiosity, save your personal growth and development. Because growing up, we've already lost it already. There's no repairing it. You can't go back to start liking books. You just have to wake up from today and start fixing it for yourself and then fix it for your children. Inside Book Lovers Club, we always say to ourselves that reading is a legacy we will leave for our children. And that's the fact. So even if you don't want to pick up yourself and make this reading thing sink and stick, for the sake of your children, don't let them go through what you went through. Second guessing yourself, not being sure of what to do next, indecision, lack of confidence. Many adults in the room, they can't stand up and speak. They're shaking. We're doing recently we did a program where for the Women's Day, myself and a group of ladies, female CEOs in my city, we came together and we said, okay, let's do a bundle for women like us. We just set some criteria that people needed to do. And when we were planning it, I told my friend that was organizing, and I said, should we not ask people to, instead of just telling them to go and like a comment on Instagram, do this, and then they will win boxes? I asked her, should they not make a video and say why they should win the packages? And she was like, that's the people in our community are so shy, they can't do it. So we dropped the idea. Guess what? We went ahead with the idea of people should just chat on Instagram why they deserve the package, why they like our brand. Guess what? 1 week after, she came back to me, she said people called her and were complaining. Then why is she asking them to chat in Instagram, that they are not social media friendly, that they don't even do much on social media? I was like, what did you just say? Just to go and type, your face is not even showing. So I then asked myself, so I didn't mean we added make video. That means that project would have just been dead on arrival. How did we get there as adults? Curiosity was killed as children. So that takes me back to, even if for anything else, save your reading life, rebuild your reading life for the sake of your children, so they don't have to go through all what adulthood has turned us into. Because I don't get it. You want to win 6 gifts from 6 different businesses, and you can't. It's hard for you to type a message, let alone even make a video. Hey, that day I sat back and I reflected. I was like, this, my voice is not loud. I need to get a microphone and be shouting about this reading thing. Let people be delivered. Because one of my mentors would say that shyness is not the fruit of the Holy Spirit. If you're a Christian and you say you're shy, you're literally an embarrassment to God. I'm sorry to say it. It is very harsh, but it's the truth. If you're a Christian and you can't stand up and say something on camera, like not even on camera, just make meaningful contribution, it's an embarrassment. Why? Because Jesus, your Lord and Savior, the Bible says what? He went about doing good. He was not hiding under the duvet. He was not hiding under Instagram chat. He went about. So that means Jesus did not have any other work. Every morning he will wake up, he will dress up, he will just go on the road looking for miracle to do. And then somebody has a skill, a talent, and they are hiding. Oh my God, I just got this revelation. I've never thought about this before. I just got it now. And it's going to be very useful for a program I'm planning later in the year. Right? And guess what? It's actually for Book Lovers Club members. Such a coincidence. It's actually tied to the theme of our June cohort. I mean, if you're here, please let me note this point so that I don't forget it. Jesus went about doing good. Why? Because he knew what he carried. He knows the son of who he is. He knows the skills that he had, and he knew that those things are not allowed. They cannot afford to be buried. So that's why he went about. You know what it means to go about? It means from morning to night you're walking, you go east, and even the Bible tells us, say, as Jesus approached the north, then went down to Jericho, then he went to the east of Bethlehem. Jesus no sit down one place. Oh, dear Christian, Jesus did not sit down in one place. He went about. I want to ask you, where is your own about? Where are you going about hiding? Hiding the talent, the skill, the beauty that God put in you. How did we even get here? Oh my God. How did we get here? We were talking about curiosity, right? Good. Real reading is not passive. Reading is asking questions, making connections, thinking deeply, understanding concepts, and challenging ideas. But if curiosity is suppressed, then reading becomes mechanical. And when reading becomes mechanical, it loses life. In one of my posts, sometime last year, late last year, I said something. I said active reading versus passive reading. And I made the difference clear. So passive reading, you pick up a book, you read, maybe you're in a mentorship community, they've told you to read Eat That Frog, or they've told you to eat 7 love languages of children or something. You just take it, you read it, nice, even underline the quotes. Very good, powerful. And then you finish to chapter end. You close the book and you keep it on to the next. That's passive reading. You're not engaging with the book. On the other hand, active reading requires you to sit down on the concept that you're learning about, reflect on them, review how it applies to your current life, and pick out 1 or 2 things that you can implement immediately. You can change immediately. Right? That's active reading. I don't know who does active reading without a journal, without a notepad, without a summary sheet. If you are reading without any of these things that you are doing, please, from today, just know that the Reader's Corner said that you're reading passively. And I'll prove it to you. There's a popular saying that the faintest pen is better than the sharpest brain. Sometimes, like I also did a research, is one of my publications somewhere, where research shows that I think about 10% of what we read, we forget in the first 1 hour. In the next 1 hour, you forget another 20%. That's how it goes. So ask me, my dear readers, by the end of 24 hours, do you still have anything remaining? If it continues like that, the answer is no. The only way you can retain and do active reading is when you scribble things, you note down some things, because it's only when you write it down that your body connects with it, your brain connects with it, right? Why did we get here? We're talking about how curiosity does not kill the cat but saves the cat. So the thing is, even though we know how to read, we never developed a desire to read. We were not raised as readers, we were trained as test takers, and when the test ended, the reading ended with it. If this has been your experience, right? We're not here to blame you. The Reader's Corner doesn't blame people. We just want to let you know that you're not alone. Every day I come across adults that are in this same situation, and the story is the same, right? We were all taught to read for school. We were not taught to read for life. And that makes a very big difference. Now, I'm going to just unpack before the end of time why reading was not designed for adult life and what we can do to fix it. Why reading was not designed for adult life and what we can do to fix it. Like we already said earlier, adult life is already full. Finishing work, attending to family, responding to messages, catching up on everything else, resting, all of that makes adulthood full. So there's hardly a space for continuous learning in adulthood. I'm taking time to explain this. So the next time you find yourself falling by the wayside of the promises you made to yourself, that, oh, I'm going to read 10 chapters today, and at the end of today, you've read only 0. I want you to remember my voice telling you your silent struggles with reading is not your fault. As an adult, it's not your fault, right? Number 1, adulthood is already full. Number 2, decision fatigue comes in the way. What is this decision fatigue? So as adults, we make hundreds of decisions every day. Hundreds, not even in the 50s or 60s. We make hundreds of decisions every day. As a mom, let me use myself as an example. So I have to, sometimes the night before, I have to figure out what the kids will eat in the morning, afternoon, night, what they will pack for school, what they will wear, especially the younger one. The bigger one can, both of them can sort out their clothes, but I still have to have an idea. Okay, what can they wear? This is not nice. Mix it with that one. I have to figure out what to do at work, how to attack my projects at work. I have to figure out content for the Reader's Corner, work plan. I have to teaching guides, everything that we do, the daily tasks that we put for Book Lovers Club, the reading motivation that we put every day, the weekly reflection. I have to think about all those things as an adult, right? I have to think about what my husband will eat because sometimes he will not want to eat what the kids are eating if it's too light, right? I have to think about that one. I have to think about vacation. Summer is coming here in Canada and North America. They talk of the town right now. It's summer, summer, summer. I have to think about where the kids will go to, or if they are even going at all. If they're not going, what are they going to be doing at home? Before I came on this live stream, I went to drop off my friend that came to visit, and we were talking about summer. That's me already thinking. This is in Aprilish. Summer comes around June, July. I'm already thinking. And then I saw some people riding the bikes, and I asked her if she could ride a bike. She's a younger girl, and she said, yeah, she could ride a bike, and her brother too. Immediately, I just booked her, like, please come and teach my kids how to ride bike. They can ride, but they need to remove the training wheels. You see how my brain is going. There was no relationship between what we're talking about and the bike. It was just as soon as I saw the bike, I had to connect. Okay, can you ride? Oh, my child cannot ride. So that's what an adult's life is made up of, to say the least. I know my list might even be smaller. I mean, you that are listening to me, your list might be even longer. Where does all of those decisions lead us to? A concept called decision fatigue. So by the end of the day, your energy is already depleted. So even when you have some time to read, you may not have the energy to engage. Your brain is already done over time. That's why many people say, oh, I read at night, I read at night. But when night comes, they are too tired to focus. They just sleep off. Not because they don't want to read, but because that energy has already been depleted before the night came. Another reason why adulthood was not designed for reading. The third one, there is no external accountability. This one hits so hard. I think that's the last one I'll stop with for today. There is no external activity. Remember when we started, we said children had consequences for not reading their books in school. They had a system, they had a structure, they had guidance. We said children always receive their area of, what's it called? Area of concentration, curriculum for the year. But as an adult, who has ever come to tell you, in this month of May, in this month of April, this is what you should work on. This is the book that you should read. This is how you should summarize it. Anybody ever does that for you? If you're not in a book club, like Book Lovers Club, the answer is no. So automatically, it's going to be a struggle with reading, because zero accountability equal to zero results. Part of the books that we read in inside Book Lovers Club recently, it was talking about the fact that if you have a goal that you're pursuing, something so important to you that you want to close out, achieve within a specific period, that your chances of succeeding in that venture is 7 times more when you are in an accountability system than when you're doing it alone. Another research says it is 90 times more. I've seen different people saying different things about it. The number doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that the point they're trying to make, which is that zero accountability is equal to zero or half-baked results. The result you will achieve in 6 months when you're under a strong accountability system, you would take like 5 years to achieve it when you're alone. That is the reason why many people have been wanting to lose weight since I knew them. They want to lose weight. They will not eat bread. They will not eat rice. They will not eat this and that. But year on to year, their weight is still the same thing. If not, it's even getting bigger because they are not in an accountability system. Nobody is holding them responsible for the consequences of their decisions, right? So for adulthood without accountability, these are the things that follow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start next week. I'll get serious later. And before long, before you know it, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months turn into years, not because it is not important to, but because it is not structured. Now, I'll just give one last point, right, before I move into quickly what we can then do to help the situation. The last one is for adulthood, the system was removed, right? The system was removed for adulthood, but it was not replaced by anything. What do I mean? So when we were in school, we had a reading system as children. Like it might not have been perfect, but it existed because there was a timetable. Every day you had English. I remember our timetable on 8 o'clock to 8:40. We had 40 minute classes, 8:41 to 9:20. There was a timetable for learning. There was a curriculum for learning, and there was strong consequences, right? But after school, that system completely disappeared and nothing replaced it. That's the sad part. So we no so for adulthood is no structure, no process, no guidance, but we are expected to figure things out. How would that work? That's what makes it almost impossible. Why I'm taking time to talk about adulthood and reading lately, because I've come across a lot of parents like they're like, Vera, I like what you're doing, keep pushing us. I really just want to pick up myself, but my life does not support this thing. Hold on. I got you. Because we have a system that will make this thing work for you. Many adults, many parents in our community are already experiencing it. If you're not in book lovers club, you are missing though. Hey, I know one lady. So when we started, January cohort started in January, yeah, but registration started around November-ish. We were making noise. People were like, Vera, your own is too much. No problem. When we closed the doors, we started. And the lady, she follows my timeline, she was like, hey, this thing you're saying, this thing. I said, they are real, though. This not, I can't be fabricating testimonies, right? And she's actually a very fantastic woman. Then sometime in February, something happened. I can't remember exactly. I think we had a program. Then we opened up a 48 hours window for people to join. And she just quickly booked her slots. In less than 3 weeks, this woman called me. She said, Vera, I have not read books like this in all my life. Like I've gotten it. I have gotten it. I hold them for here. I say, correct. And up till now, she's one of the most active people in Book Lovers Club because the system we have in place is working for her. So I said, in adulthood, the system was removed. Nobody gave you timetable again. Nobody gave you curriculum. Nobody gave you exam or tests. How can you live up to expectation with all of those things? And that is the brain behind the success of Book Lovers Club, because we now try to recreate that school system for adults without pressure. Nobody's going to chase you about, but we're going to give you everything you need. And that is why once we start the session, the first thing we do is to share the curriculum for the cohort. So for January cohort, our curriculum focused on time management, effective time management for readers. You see, when you say you don't have time, you have time, you don't know how to find the time. So that's what we did for this whole 3 months, entering the 4th month in April, is effective time management for readers. We read, all the books we read were focused on time management. And that is how real change happens. If you're in a community where they're just jumping from one topic every week, another topic, there's something called consolidation and internalization of ideas. I understand that concept very well because it helped me when I was in school. That's why I'm replicating it for Book Lovers Club. I put it there in 4 months. we're just going to talk about time management, and you don't want to know how many more concepts we've learned. Personally, I've learned so many new concepts about time management. I can actually write a whole book on it. In fact, I've taken a topic of a book I'll write on time management. Why? Because we've spent time digesting books on it. Practical one example, the one we read this March, Eat That Frog. It has 21 principles that will help you stop procrastinating and do what you need to do. That book is a mind blower. Or is it the one we read, Essentialism? Right? Is it a 12-week year? So this is not me preaching about Book Lovers Club. This is me telling you that there is a system that you need to replace. Once they took it away from you in adulthood, you need to have somewhere that you have that system. We have a curriculum in Book Lovers Club. We have a timetable. By April 1st now, the team will send out the reading plan. This is what you're going to read in week 1. This is the chapter you're going to read. Do you see it now? I'm leaking our secret now. So that's the way it works. Taking you back to how it works for you as a child, we bring it back to you, bring it forward. And it's as simple as that, right? So you don't have to be in Book Lovers Club, but make sure you're in a community where they give you a curriculum, they give you a timetable, they give you a daily accountability. Come and show me that you read. And that's what we do in Book Lovers Club. Every day you show us that you read. And guess what? Many people are consistently showing up. Sometimes when I go away from my phone for hours and I come back, the kind of messages I see in Book Lovers Club community, I'm like, oh my God, these people are reading. Even me, I need to sit up because these people cannot read past me. So that's on the lighter note. Now, let us move. What are the practical things that we can do to help this situation? For me, I have a lot of it. I have a lot of the steps written in the book that is upcoming, and I don't want to say too much from that book. But top of my head, I would say number 1 is to reframe your mindset about reading. Because whatever we become first starts from what we believe about ourselves. We need to reframe the mindset that, oh, it's not possible. I'm so weak. I'm so tired. I'm so busy. Let me shock you. And I think, admin, please help me note this point. I came across a research, not recently, so it was some years ago, with a long list of very busy CEOs that are readers. Pastor Matthew Ashimolowo, yes. That guy, with all due respect, covers over 100 books every year. Over 100 every year. I want to ask you, how many of you are church founders? KICC is a global movement. Even this, I don't want to say my small readers corner, because readers corner is not small. But even if this is my baby readers corner that I'm running, if you see the way how it takes my time, my life away. And then I ask myself, if I was not having 15 of these readers corner, am I not going to die like this? But guess what? He has branches. He's a CEO. He's a pastor. He has so many businesses. How does he cover 100 books? I'm not even saying audio, all this listening and driving. That's not what I'm saying. He reads. Or is it our dear Facebook Mark Zuckerberg? All these people I'm calling, please go and read about them. I'm not even exaggerating. These guys are feasting on raw liquid wisdom. So whenever I hear I'm busy, my life is full, I just sit down and smile. I always say this. Every successful millionaire in dollars, billionaire in any currency, there is a reader working with them. If they themselves are not readers, they hire readers. Why? Because readers are creative. Readers are raw cash walking about. As you see me like this, I am money, dollars like this. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not even lying. In the few years that I turned myself into an ardent reader, I know how many, I know what to do. Like, I can't just be broke. It's not possible. Because every time my brain is giving me ideas, in fact, sometimes I'm like, God, Holy Spirit, please, let's just stop. There's too much chaos in my head. I don't have time to implement all these things. Even as I was doing this makeup in the morning for church, if you see the idea that dropped in my mind, that's what happens when your mind is sharp And let me tell you one more thing I said in my book that I'm writing. When I was talking about, there's a part I was talking about, I said, I was talking about myself. First, is a personal story. Yeah, then I mixed some teachings in it. I was talking about when I got the idea for the Reader's Corner and how, in a space of how many days, it came to life. The business was registered in a few months, everything started escalating. And I never thought about it until I was typing that thing on my laptop when I was writing that book, sometime last week or 2 weeks ago. That the problem we have as adults is not lack of ideas. The problem is that the ideas do not fall on a fertile ground. Why am I opening this my book? Why am I talking about this book? Oh, I saved all these things for different teachings, but I'm going to share it with you for joining me today. Who remembers the parable of the sower? As soon as the Holy Spirit told me that part, I carried my Bible, I started looking for it, and I read it. They said the talents were given the words were given, and some of them fell on thorns, some fell on. Do you get me? Only the one that fell on a fertile soil germinated. I want you to sit back and ask yourself, are there no ideas you've been getting since? How many of them did you implement? Procrastination, giving excuses, delayed obedience, all of them are because these ideas are falling on rocky soil. A mind that is not constantly fed with wisdom from books is a rocky soil. There is nothing you put there that can succeed. If it succeeds, it takes such a long time and it yields nothing. But to see a fertile soil, just say it once and it has come to pass. That is where I'm going to end today's live stream. Reframe your mind and see reading that this thing is possible. People are doing it. People are doing it. I'm going to put together that list, the list of all those readers. Like, even the founder of it. No, there's one, Nike, the person who found Nike. I've forgotten their name. I have a journal where I wrote all of them down. That one, I watched an interview of him. He said he has a library. He has a library. Thank you, Teme. Thank you for that summary. He has a library that in his office, he has an office library. That when he comes into that library, he removes his shoes. He doesn't walk into that space with his shoes. And they asked him why. He said, this place is a holy ground. I don't think he's even a Christian. He said, this place is sacred because this is where all my ideas are germinated. This is where the seed is planted and where the soil germinates. Everything that you see about Nike shoes all over the world, global brand, it started in this library. So if you're still saying you're busy, you're the only one that's not reading again. No? And everyone I know that takes this reading seriously, they are not broke people. In fact, that brings me, I shouldn't say, okay, I can say it small. That brings me to our theme for June cohort. We're going to unlock our creativity. Recently, I discovered a scripture, the relationship between books and wealth. Hey, my head blew. I was like, what? The relationship between books and money. Book and money. You cannot be a reader and you are broke. In fact, a reader is a wealth of ideas. You are a walking diamond. Me, I know. For me, I used to tell my husband that what is keeping me is time constraint, like having 9 to 5. Sometimes I feel like I should just run away from this. I'll just be alone. Let me go and birth all the ideas in my mind because they are too much. They are too much. I am just maybe I'm just cooking stew. The next thing I have a course to teach. And of course, I can't teach that course and teach it for free. Right? Because it's my mental, intellectual, it's my intellectual, what's it called now? Property. And intellectual, so let's talk about properties now. When you have a property, you don't lease your property or rent a property for free. So that's the same way your brain is your intellectual property. Anything coming from your brain needs to be monetized. That is where you get wealthy, from knowing a lot of things. How do you know a lot of things? By reading a lot of books. Somebody should just give me a love emoji because I've said too much out of my notes, things I didn't plan to say. But I'm so happy that we had this session today. I'm so excited that you show up here every time to feed your minds. And if you're that one person wondering where to start or how you're going to cope, I want you to know that the readers community is here for you. Book Lovers Club is here for you. You just need to reach out and join the winning team. And one fact remains that reading daily is possible. Many of us are doing it effortlessly. Remember how I started this session? I said, if you can eat, then you can read. Thank you so much for joining me once again today. I am so grateful for the opportunity. I think at some point we have to make these conversations more frequent because 1 month is not cutting it. Like the more I read, the more my head is about to explode. I need to be coming to be sharing all these things. So if you're enjoying what we talked about today, let me know in the comment section. What did you enjoy most? Nkoyo Adoga, thank you so much for sharing your love emojis and your fire emojis. They mean a lot. They mean a lot to me. They are so encouraging. Let me know that you enjoyed yourself today, and let me know that you're going to be joining us again this time, April, end of April, last Sunday in April, so that we can. Thank you, Mateme. Thank you. I appreciate you. And this is where we wrap it up for today. Reading as a child versus reading in adulthood. I will summarize it in one sentence. Reading as a child had systems, had structures, had curriculums, timetables, accountability. But reading as an adult has none of those. That is why reading is pushed to the back seat. That is why adults struggle with reading. For you to leave the struggling seat into the winning team, you need to bring back the curriculum for your reading, bring back the timetable for your reading, bring back the accountability for your reading, and reading becomes a breeze once again. Thank you very much, my sweet girl, Promise. Thank you. I'm happy to see you. All right, till we meet again next Sunday. Thank you for joining the Reader's Corner. Have a blessed Sunday evening and a pleasant new week and a happy new month in advance. Bye.